And we're live from the Rez. Special guest, the one, the only, Mr. Simon in the house. Simon, I want to do the introduction, but I want you to introduce yourself because I know you have the traditional ways of introducing, and I think that's pretty powerful to hear. So, how do you introduce yourself, sir?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here in your area. Um, ja, te bine share Simon Jones, yeah. Sydney Island, Toba Bashin, Totoni Island, Toba Dinland. Um, I'm from originally from Clagato, Arizona,
Okay.
and my name is Simon R. Jones, which is given to me by my mother and my father, who are the Blackstreet clan and Water Edge, and that's how I carry myself. Um, so yeah,
That's cool, man. It's always like hearing that. Like when you go to conferences, powwows, just where there's a lot of natives, different areas. I think especially in those areas, it's so powerful to hear people introduce themselves traditional ways because it does tell so much. It tells where they're from, their clan, all of these different things, their families, and it's cool because I've seen people connect like they didn't know each other. I was at a gathering here in San Diego, and there was two people from the same clan or area or something. They were relatives, and they didn't know each other. But one
right.
introduced themselves, and the other one introduced themselves, and then later on they came up and met. And I was talking to both. I happen to know both of them myself, and they were like, "Yeah, we didn't know each other, but we're relatives." And they were saying that, and it's funny because he was elder and she was younger, and she would say, "Well, I'm technically like his aunt." Like if we go back to the structure of it, we're like I'm like his aunt, and I'm like, well, that's crazy. 'Cause she was real young.
Yeah, I get that all the time, especially with the amount of energy I put out there when I
Hmm.
travel the whole area of Spectrum, the whole U.S.
Yeah.
All the people I meet across this land, like I have friendships with all of them. So
Okay.
it's like a great thing. At the same time, like it reminds you of yourself, like where you belong. So in one way, we're all related. Especially with the being DNA. Like whoa, wait a minute, like
Yeah. When you're
mom and
doing
dad got it all good. So when it comes to the clanship, it really does draw back from where you come from.
that's powerful
It's a
because you guys are a
very,
big nation, dude. You guys are huge, so you gotta kind of
I mean,
break it up, I guess,
it
huh?
is huge, but at the same time, like a lot of people I've met, like they're all in my clanship.
Okay.
So I guess I think that's a great thing.
Hmm.
But who do I get married to?
That's always the drawback,
Yeah, like yeah. So I think that's something that's very important as well.
Hmm.
And to this day, like I love it because my parents are the rock to who I am today.
Hmm.
So yeah,
That's cool, and you're right. That is like the hard part. I think a lot of people have to kind of deal with that. They wanna go find themselves a native out there and stuff. But if you don't, especially if you don't travel and you live in your own area, you start looking around your res and it's like, oh, that's my grandma's,
hmm,
cousin's grandkid. I can't hook up with them. That's my cousin on my dad's side. That's or
yeah,
you grow up with these guys and they may not be really blood cousins, but they feel like cousins, and you don't want to mess with that.
yeah.
And it's like, same time, it's better to know than not know. You don't want to hook up with someone and go, like, you're looking at the family
Yeah,
tree,
especially
you
when it
know,
comes
it's a palm
to
tree.
yeah, exactly. Especially when it comes to being Danae, it's something that you actually really have to look into.
Hmm.
And you don't want to get married to your cousin or your aunt or your uncle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's highly important. You know.
You don't want to be more than one meme. They have the meme about the aunties and the
Yeah,
uncles. Watch out, hide your aunties,
that's where it
uncles.
comes from. That's where it
Yeah.
comes from.
You don't want to be that. And then they have the other
Yeah.
memes about the cousins. You can't be cousin with the aunt or uncle. That's too much meme work.
Yeah,
That's
if that were to happen, there'd be drawback to that.
Oh
So
yeah, missing a
yeah,
chromosome for one, but
or DNA, or
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So
Now
you
you want to
want,
grow families, right? You want to bring people together. You want to.
yeah,
You don't want to just be your same people in the same box.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we have that out here. We used to have that very strong. Our clans, and sometimes there are people kind of start to identify with that. Instead
right,
of saying
right,
this is what res I'm from, this is what family I am. Because I hear in San Diego we have more reservations than any other county in the United States,
right.
and so like if you go to where you're from, the largest reservation, right, in the United States, you come over to San Diego, we have the smallest reservation, but all of San Diego County is one nation, and we're broken up, a little
Yeah.
differently in dialects, but we have all of these reservations, and it's easy for someone to say, well, I identify with this reservation, this is my tribe, this is my group. But in reality, in San Diego County, it's like we're all, for the most part, all one nation.
Right.
And so you might have cousins on this reservation, cousins on that reservation, cousins. So for me, it's better to know who your family is more than what res you're from, because you might go to another res and they might be your family. At the same time, somebody on my own reservation may not be my family at all.
Right.
And so it's important to know that. And so we used to have those clans and identify like that. And as the language kind of started to slip and go away, people started to just kind of simply refer to, so-and-so's grandma or my grandma, grandparents. I'm from this res, I'm from that. And so all the old timers in our area would still kind of ask who's your grandparents, and you still have to get checked off. I have teenage kids, and it's always like, I know the question is like, well, are we related to those guys?
Because that question comes about if your son were to get married,
right?
You want to know where that bloodline comes from, because you don't want to be giving your son off or daughter off to you're related to someone. So yeah. So it does happen, but at the same time, I think today's like that is really important.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe at one point that it's not passed on because there's just so much involved with the family, but at the same time it's a good thing to know, where you come from and your bloodline and your relatives and who your parents are, and like my clanship as well as the way you carry yourself too. So it goes both ways.
And the population's grown so much too. You might meet somebody out in town and they might be your relative. I know for your people, it seems like any Indian organization you go, you find a Dene or Navajo, they're there. Somebody's part or from that nation. Go to any college, there's one, it's like our res, my neighbor, she's her mom's Navajo, and so we have some in my res, we have some in, our nation, we have a bunch, that have been married in and whatnot. So, you could go to any nation in the United States probably and find a Navajo person, I bet. So you got to be careful.
I will tell you.
Have you checked? I bet you've checked.
I'll tell you a true story. When I was living in New York City,
mm-hmm.
I thought I was the only native Dene brother in New York City. But come to find out, there's tons out there.
I bet, man. There's so many people there.
Yeah, I was like, man, I can't go anywhere without being recognized as being Dene. Every time I get that notion, it's like, man, you guys are everywhere.
Yeah, I always make that joke.
Yeah, you guys are everywhere. Well, yeah, because we are from this land, and it's where we recognize ourselves,
mm-hmm.
For example, when I was living in the Bronx, I have a friend that was very intrigued that we are still here.
Yeah.
He thought we were still living in teepees, for example.
Yeah.
I was like, no, we're not. But he's like, well. And I made a joke at one time. I'm like, yeah, this is my home. And I showed him a picture of a Standing Rock.
Yeah.
Like, no way. He was so upset. He's like, welcome in college and school. They didn't teach me this.
Yeah.
Because in the textbook form and classes, he was told that we don't no longer exist, So I was like, oh, wow. So it was a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
To this day, we're great friends.
Yeah, in a setting like New York, so many people from all over the planet. And those of you who've never been in New York, it's a real, the demographics, there's a lot of African people there, and the people from Middle East and people from, but they're from they're literally from those parts of the world though, a lot of them.
Small islands.
Yeah, and the islands and things very diverse, and so you see a person that's our color.
We have that here in San Diego and University Heights.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have definitely a big diverse population.
If you were to put University Heights into New York City, that's basically what you will get.
Yeah, that's pretty true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So when it comes to culture and
so you really don't know where anybody's from. They might be from here or there, or they might be native. And I think people would go, that would probably last on their mind to think like, whoa, this is a Native American from a tribe, and then all they do know is from the movies or something.
Funny fact about that is that they all look alike.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thought process,
But
right?
when it comes to speaking English, it's you can tell that what's the word
The dialectal difference.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah. It comes
exactly.
out in the tongue a lot of times. You can hear it, and
Yeah,
you're like, oh, okay.
and there you have that mentality of like, oh man, this person's from this country, so and
Hmm.
so. So that's where your knowledge comes in, that you have to be familiarized with where they come from.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that ability, then everybody will judge you
Hmm.
because you're like, oh, how's it? I don't know that versus that you know it.
Sure.
Kind of like a direct thing. It, it,
So when I met you, we were getting ready. I was gonna go do a run for the longest walk, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go run. I took my family. Really, we were gonna go walk it, and then I was gonna drive a van, and then I wound up being in the back of the van with running shoes on, about to go run. I was like, well, we're really gonna do this. You were there actually ready to run. My daughter was there ready to run. I was there ready to cheer, um, but you've talked about being in New York and traveling around and having clans all over. I know a lot of that's been through your running. So I'm curious, how did you get started running? How did that all? Have you always ran since you're a little kid,
I
or?
think referring back to what you're
Yeah.
asking, it draws back to who we really are.
Okay.
You know, before even we have trains, before we have
Mm-hmm.
vehicles, and we always travel abroad. On
Yeah.
foot. But I started running when I was like in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember going to cross country practice, and I had these basketball shoes, and my uncle showed up, and he's like, you know what, you can't run in those basketball shoes, so I'm gonna give you some running shoes. So I I owe it to him too. He's the one that had understanding that I had the capability of running, so it was nice.
And then from there, you just kind of like
From there,
competed, or you just.
yeah, from there I started running, and actually it really got me out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up on the reservation, not knowing everything what's going on in my community, it showed me a direction. And if it wasn't for sports or excelling, I probably would say I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, like I'm grateful for that matter. And especially growing on the reservation, everyone is either misdirected, misguided, or uneducated. But at the time, like I had to do that in order to get away from my homeland.
Yeah.
So I excelled in school and sports, and I got a full scholarship. Thankfully, that was the nice part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Opportunity comes from it. You're right.
but
Survival mode, though,
when
man. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's a
I
way to
mean, when
survive.
I look back on it, I was like, oh man, how am I gonna survive? Either I'm gonna be. It's funny because every time I go home, I had to put that survival mode on
Uh huh.
because I'm there to help my people, and yet at the same time, like I would have been there myself,
Uh huh.
and that's where a lot of my outreach is coming from. Like the coat drive. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Absolutely.
um, and the feeding of the people, there's a sense of there's no hope for our people, but at the same time, like if there's at least a little bit, then there's a possibility of having that joy, knowing that there's someone there that will actually does care.
Yeah.
So, and therefore, I do what I do for that reason because I was given opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have been one of those persons that was been on the streets.
And that's something that I think in my area there's a lot of it's hard to believe that natives still are living so rough existences in different parts of the country, and in Canada and down in Mexico and things like
Mm-hmm.
some of our people really are living and still in the destitute of all that generational trauma that we're healing
Right.
from out here. We saw a lot of brutality on the western coast with the gold rush and the mission era, and the Americanization coming in, and we saw a lot of brutality, a lot of there was massacres up and down the coastline, whole tribes knocked out and all that, and then we kind of assimilated it quite a bit, and then we've been coming out of poverty with economic developments up and down the coast and tourism, and in the last 25 years, a lot of our tribes have done very well. Where we have seen here in the West Coast, San Diego especially, we're flourishing as a people. A lot of us, a lot of our tribes are doing well. But still, you go to the center of the country where tourism isn't such a big deal, where their natural resources were stolen from them, and there's not a lot of economic development. More importantly, there's not a lot of economic opportunity for a lot of our people. So even if they did want to do good, it's like, want to get a job, well, you're going to have to drive hours to go to a place to work.
I remember like driving 2 hours to get to work and then driving 2 hours after a 9-hour shift, it was, but you know what? We didn't pay rent, so.
Yeah, I mean, San Diego rent will make you want to drive 3 hours. So, I'll drive 3 hours.
I mean, that sounds kind of cliche, but, as we were able to go to work and, same time there was no rent or, it was all about, at the same time, like you said, survival mode and just, putting what you had to get, and that was like almost a 5-hour commute just
that's crazy.
To go and back from work. Yeah, that's how rural our nation is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, speaking on terms of trying to survive.
Yeah.
I remember my mother and my father having to drive 3 hours to work and not being with us because of work reasons.
Yeah.
Just to support us,
That's something people don't think about. Like here being on the borderline, I've come across a lot of families that they live down in Mexico because they can afford a place down there.
Yeah.
And they drive up here to work and they drive back down, but it's like they leave super early in the morning to get through the border, go to work, and they go back super late, and then repeat, I mean, and it's like time away from family in the car. It's time away from their family and their kids, and it's not like they're all goofing off. They're trying to make money to pay, to feed everybody essentially. And survive. I mean, that's rough, man.
Waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning and crossing the border by 5 just to be on time for work is redundantly something that people don't realize that it's happening.
Yeah.
Unless you actually take the time and realize that they're actually doing this for the sake of their family,
Yeah.
And we're in a day and age that people don't realize that,
Sure.
That we don't engage, even though we are right now, but more like on a really social level, So I think that's one thing that our society is losing is we can't sit down and have a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of why we have these devices in our faces all the time.
Yeah. And it's like a poor effort to try to do because we do connect with so many people, but it's so surface level and it's not, you don't get the social cues, you don't get the spirituality of just connecting with vibe and all of that. And it's like you kind of lose those skills.
I mean, and from last year's run, like we had like hundreds of likes and shares, but we had like literally almost 7 people running.
Oh yeah, because it's so easy to like, but it's hard to get out there and want to connect. Huh?
So referring to that, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like that's why I tell all the runners and people that show up, like, if it was easy, everyone would show up.
Yeah.
So.
And then you gotta, it's like there's easy, difficult, all that, but then there's purpose of it, like it's meaningful, so it should be done whether it's easy or difficult, right? I know, like I've been part of different things where we've put out programs to teach language or just different culture, songs, the dances, or games. And you're right, you put a flyer out and people, oh man, it's gonna be great, like, love, all the different on it, share it, all these things. But then when the date comes, you're like, where are all these people? Oh man, I'm sorry, couldn't make it here, couldn't make it there, had this, I had that. But same time, it's about a priority. You got to make these things a priority. And sometimes I've had people say, like, I don't want to go out in, like, I don't feel comfortable leaving my house. Like, they have like anxiety of leaving, or they don't want to be around everybody. And they're like, is there any way you can get that knowledge to me where I'm at home? And in a way, that's kind of how this podcast started. Was You know, people don't want to connect as much, and they can't find the time because they're working or busy or commute. Kids are in sports, kids are at school. They got all these things where they're getting pulled in so many different directions. They're barely spending time with their family. So if they do have time, it's a premium. They don't want to go sit in a class or in a meeting. They want to just be able to spend time with their family, if anything, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, if I can have the convenience of communicating with somebody on the phone or talking, video chat with them, or a podcast, I can listen to it on the way to while I'm driving the kids to school. Okay. Then it's that's something that works. But you're right.
That's what we're doing here.
That's what we're doing here. I guess, man. Yeah. Boom. That's what we're doing here. But it's like,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is what we're doing here. Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda. Yeah, I guess so.
But we're here, so.
But it is a function, but you do lose stuff. Yeah.
That's actually a really good point, Like,
yeah.
Sometimes.
Is that what we doing now?
I know, right? Nah. But honestly, like, if you have an audience that's willing to listen and take the time, and that is actually one thing I wanted to make clear is you have to really take the time and appreciate that everyone wants to hear you, but in this day right now, it's no one really wants to. It's kind of sad in a way. It's so. When it comes to this, I would love for everyone to hear the voice of you and I and everyone that has something to say, because we don't have that voice anymore.
Yeah.
Whether it's through social media, whether it's through broadcast, whether it's through the what's the word? The vibration.
Yeah.
Dang it. I know.
You know what someone told me one time? They said that being on social media, they were talking about, I don't know if it was Twitter or one of those. Yeah. But they said it's like going outside and yelling something. Somebody might hear you, but they probably won't. And if they hear you, they don't know what you're saying anyways. They don't really understand what you're coming from. And I was like, dang, that's brutal, because I make a lot of memes and jokes on it, on these things.
Actually, it is really true, though.
But it is kind of true. Yeah, it can be true, And it's, especially if you're not on it all the time, because then the algorithm bumps you out and no one sees your post. You can have something very profound, but if no one sees it, then you're out of the loop. But if you're on there all the time, then they might see it.
I'll tell you this. It's quite funny that I noticed when I was attacked about a month ago, when I posted that I had almost literally 7, 8, maybe 1,000 views on that. I was like,
that's crazy, huh?
And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to promote this brand, but I don't have that amount of people wanting to view it. That's what
it's like you're doing all this positive stuff and nobody seems to chime in or care. Crickets. Then you hear something negative happens in your life, and then everyone's boom. It really, it's crazy.
It really occurred to me. I'm like, wow, they want to look for something that's very, I wouldn't say negative, but something very
controversial maybe or provocative. Yeah. And the people who do these media things, the Facebooks, the Instagrams of the world, all of these, they know that. They know that human nature is to want to look at those kinds of things going on. So the algorithm feeds that. So any kind of controversy that's put out, any kind of argument, any kind of bad luck or hard, this country got bombed and these kids are starving, all these things of humanity that we should be going, oh man, it's terrible. I don't want to see this train wreck. The algorithm knows that that's what we actually do look at, and so it starts to feed that, and you get caught up in that loop where you're looking at nothing but that, and you're like, oh my God, everything's falling apart. Nothing's, and it's like you go from negative thing to negative thing to negative thing, and then people go like, I don't know why I feel so anxious and got depression right now, and it's like, well, that isn't helping. That is not helping. That's triggering things inside. So, fight or flight chemicals inside where it's not good, man.
What I did was I deleted that post.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
I mean, just because I was ecstatic of the amount of views I was getting.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, but I'm over here trying to promote this run that's going to be happening next week. And I'm like, wow.
That's the big monster, man. You feed it. Feed the big monster, and it's like, do I want to feed this thing?
It is a really scary thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
you almost have to purify yourself from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a new thing where I hear people talk about Like I'm gonna leave. I mean, obviously for ceremony, you put your phone away, you put these things away. It's kind of even before there was a phone, that was the idea. Let's pull ourselves away from everything. But I think especially now, people are doing like kind of like mini ceremonies where like I'm not gonna be on my phone for a week, and I'm gonna try to purify myself and get
Mm-hmm.
away, get in the nature, get
Mm-hmm.
away from everything. I've heard a few people say that, and
Guilty.
I've done it. Where I'm gonna put this away
I'm not
for.
guilty.
I'm gonna put it away for 20 minutes. I'll go for a walk. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, right? Guilty.
I'm gonna give it an hour and I'll come back purified. No.
And that was me at work,
Yeah.
And that's a funny fact because we right now in today's society that we're moving so quickly
Okay.
at a constant pace that we don't step back and realize what we actually engage ourselves into.
Yeah.
And that kind of refers to what's going on in Australia.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's definitely a rough one going. I mean, we see the images and the like Australia's all on fire and like, it's kind of like here comes the memes. It's weird. Like we almost go to war with Iran and everything's 24 hours of memes, and I'm guilty of it too. But it's kind of like when it got serious and they attacked that base, it's like, wow, man, we might be sending our kids off to war here. Like we should really, our young men and women, like we should really be. I mean, not joking about this so much, but it's so easy to get wrapped up into all of that. All I guess the meme side of it, or the joke side of it, or the craziness of it.
Yeah.
It's like we're so desensitized from seeing acts of violence and crazy things, global catastrophes, that we just want to laugh at it, and it's a big deal though.
If you know for a fact that this country is based on that, if you were to go to a third world country,
Yeah.
Such as where are those countries? There's like several countries that if you were to make fun of something or anyone, or you would be punished for it,
Yeah.
So in this age and the country that it's been built on, like we get away with it
Yeah.
only because it's kind of like a tactic, like tiger tactic, like what happened to us in Standing Rock, and for us not to see it and not to be able to realize that, it's a scary thing,
Yeah.
and everybody can laugh, but when everything hits a fan, it won't be funny, it's just the way it is,
Yeah.
because like it happened to our people.
Yeah.
It really did happen to our people because we were and we were attacked, and so.
Colin Kaepernick, in the after that Iran, after the guy was shot out there, that general, he came out and said something along the lines of nothing new. And I'm paraphrasing and getting his quote all messed up, but it was something along the lines of like nothing new, American, colonization or whatever, imperialism gone out and attacking more brown people. He said something along those lines. And people were, again, right back down Colin Kaepernick's throat, and he's an anti-American, and he's blah, blah, blah. All of these things, but people didn't stop and actually just say, wait a minute, what is he talking about? Is there any truth in that? Because, no, there is truth, with what happened to the native peoples of this continent, what happened taking Hawaii. Mauna Kea has been in the news, but people forget about when we went over there and just, like, attacked those people, and they were trying to fight for their own sovereignty. Their land was just taken. We talk about all the different parts of the world where you see this imperialism in the post-industrial imperialism going in just heinous acts on people.
Everyone blames this person that's in our administration, so-called administration. It's been happening for decades.
Yeah, all the old people are like, nothing new. Trump's just another one, It's like nothing new because it has been happening.
It's happening way, way, way before. It's now that it's actually coming to surface.
Yeah.
That a few people might actually realize what's really going on.
Yeah.
And that's a scary fact about the whole thing, And the only thing I can say and refer to that is always be humble and be true to yourself, and be in prayer. And that's one thing that I wanted to touch on was like yesterday, like with my coworkers, and I was like, man, I never been attacked that way in such a matter, like you're Indian, I was like, it was crazy. It was nonsense, really.
So you had a bunch of coworkers come at you all sideways a little bit for being native?
Yes.
That's crazy.
It was like, why are you working? You have all this casino, you have all this money, and oh man, it was just bizarre. I mean, I felt like why you guys attacking me? I've been working here for a while, and so why are you coming at me for this reason? You know, like
Yeah.
it's because being native, indigenous, were there's so many consumptions,
Yeah.
but no one knows the consumption of not having nothing
Yeah.
and still be there for yourself. I mean, there's a lot of people out there hurting.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you weren't like
Yeah.
where you're not allowed to work, I know I had when I was working as an educator, I like second day working there, another teacher came up and asked me, I said, why are you working? Don't you get like per capita or
Mm-hmm.
something? And I said, well, first off, this is a calling. This is a career that you
Yeah,
do as
yeah,
a calling. You don't do it for
yeah,
money. And if
yeah.
you're doing it for money, you're probably not going to last long. You probably don't want to do it,
Right.
And I've always had the mindset of like things like that. If you're doing it for money, then you should get out of you should get out of it. You should be there for a calling, and then when that calling leaves, then you leave. But because it's sacred, But
Yeah.
his mindset was like, well, you're rich. In his mind, you're rich, but he don't know me or my family, where I'm from or nothing.
Yeah.
But in San Diego, everyone assumes that all the natives have casinos. They all come from casino tribes,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot do. Don't be wrong. There's a lot of impoverished natives in San Diego County that either
Yeah.
are not from San Diego originally, they're from a tribe from outside of San Diego, outside of California, or they are from a local tribe and they just don't have a casino or economic
And
development.
that's exactly what
It's
I
common.
told the editors
Yeah.
of the Navajo Times.
Hmm.
I'm like, I got a phone call yesterday from Mini Farms, Arizona. And
Okay.
it was like, I mean, I don't want to judge, but it would sound like an elder lady.
Hmm.
And she's like, hey, I heard there was a run going on. I was like, what? What do you mean? I was so excited. and
Yeah, they heard
excited.
about your run. Yeah.
Yeah, and, I mean, you never hear about this place. But
By the
I
way,
was
let's
like,
throw a plug out. When is your run?
January 17th
Okay.
to the 21st.
And where is this taking place?
We're going to start in Snow Peak, which is
Okay.
10 miles northeast of Flagstaff.
Okay, Snow Peak outside of Flagstaff.
Yeah,
Okay.
Snowball, yeah.
Okay, and you guys are running to.
We're going to be running from there to our capital, which
Okay.
is now called Window Rock.
Window Rock. I've been there.
Nomination.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
I think
place. You can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful spot.
There's a lot of stories behind that.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. But no, so she called me and I was like, oh, how'd you know about this? She was like, oh, I seen the ad in the newspaper. I'm like, oh, really? So I engaged the conversation that someone on a level that we're talking about, like, she wouldn't have known about it unless it was through the paper wise. Like my
Okay.
mother.
Right.
My mom thought I was crazy because she's like, "What are you doing? Why are you
I'll give
running
you a
across-
ride. Why do you want to ride?
Why are
Why
you
do you want
running
to
across
ride?
the country? Why are you in Standing Rock?"
Yeah.
But you know what? It's funny is that she read an article in a newspaper, and those are the ones that we really need to engage with. So my mom's like, she read that article, and that's how she found out everything that I've been involved with.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Because she's not savvy. She doesn't
Sure.
have all the top technology that we
Yeah.
are so easily in our hands.
Hmm.
So, and it took me a while to realize that, So tomorrow our flyers are gonna be posted in the Navajo Times, which
Nice.
is so.
Let's go. Shout out to Navajo Times. Check it out. Simon's
Thank
gonna be in there. His
thank
run.
you to the elders.
Mhm.
They've just been. They understood where I was coming from.
Okay.
Because I remember as a kid, like, I would run to the store just to get the Navajo Times for my mom.
Yeah.
So now that I'm like actually running, it kind of like
Yeah.
my mom was like, "Hey, my son's gonna be running this." And
Full
I'm
circle,
looking
man.
yeah, So and that's one thing that we had to realize is the circleness of things.
Yeah.
So in that way, I really am thankful for how I was raised and how I was brought up.
Mhm. One thing too, like before we get off the subject, is talking about elders and stuff. We always talk about go check in on your elders. My parents live next door; they're elderly, and they like to be self-contained. But I like to send my kids over, and I like to go over and
more
be there with them.
More stubborn.
But yeah, right. But one of the things you have to do is it is good to go over and do the technology with them. we always think, oh, make sure they have water, make sure they have this and that. But, everybody out there listening, make sure you go out and have your kids go interact with their grandparents and show them
Yeah.
how to use the technology. Go show them how to get logged on if they don't have it, or show them what's out there. Show them videos, show them things like that, because they kind of missed that a little bit. Some of them missed that. They
Yeah.
didn't. They were when they were young. There was no technology like that, and they kind of got old. And a lot of our elders are kind of like, I don't need that stuff. So they never really got on board with technology. But the kids have it. They know that, and so where the elders have the ability of experience, and they can
Mhm.
share those things with the kids. The kids now have technology and energy. They can go and it's like a fair trade off, and it's a nice
Yeah.
way to see the young and the old intertwine and come together and stuff. So just as a little PSA, public service announcement. Everybody go check on your elders, but create those,
Yeah.
create that relationship. It's good for the young and the old to get together and share like that.
Yeah,
It's cool.
it's really important actually.
Mhm.
They're the ones that were before us.
Yeah.
So why not do that? Which is probably one of the most practical thing of being a person that you are. If
Yeah.
not, then shame on you.
Yeah.
So like I seen my nephew take wits to his uncle, and I was like, oh man, thank you, nephew. That's exactly how we want everything to carry on, because
Yeah.
as of right now, it's cold back home. For
Yeah.
where I'm from, it's cold, and there's a fire almost every 24 hours a day. So
Try to keep everybody going.
yeah, it's
Huh?
important to
Go cut wood for those guys. Then I always see the memes out of Navajo land about if you can't cut wood, or and then you got like the memes of the ladies out there cutting wood and everything. So get the wood going, man. You gotta
Hey,
make
you
a
have a
fire.
good woman. She
Yeah.
can chop wood, and drive a stick, and
Yeah.
drive in the snow, and the mud, and make bread.
Gee.
You got the women. But nowadays, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom always jokes about that.
Yeah.
She's actually, in fact, really happy that I'm single.
Uh-huh.
Only because
Less stress for her, probably. Huh? Is that what it is? Hey, I got kids, man. No, I'm
yes,
kidding.
she's like, all your brothers, there was some women, and you're the one single. And the funny thing about that was because since I was 14, I've been so grateful to be like traveling and stuff.
Yeah.
So I went to Australia, and I guess I'm practically the only person in my family that really has gone that far as like traveling and stuff. And she's like, just keep doing it, because we didn't do it.
Yeah.
So keep doing what you're doing. So at times I'm like, Mom, are you okay?
No, I know you've gone from like coast to coast, did the old Forrest Gump routine, but no, but I guess how many times have you ran across America, or like, what are some key runs that you've gone on? I know, like I said, we did
Oh
the longest walk that
man,
one time, and you did a lot of the
there's
running of that, but I know you've been active the last few years. You've just been really going. What are some key runs that you've done that come
the
to mind?
the ones I passed run was from, which is the longest walk, which started in San Diego
Yeah. Coastline in the ocean.
to DC.
Yeah.
That really started, and only because I was volunteering
Yeah.
at the time.
Was that your first, I guess, like,
Since
prayer run type thing, or not prayer? Oh, I don't know what you would say, like a cultural run. I guess is that like one
yeah,
of your
I,
yeah
I'll be honest, like
for awareness? I guess you'd
I
say.
didn't know that I was actually on Coney Island,
Uh huh.
or like at the time I didn't know who I really was,
Uh huh.
which is scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know there was tribes in Utah. I didn't know there's tribes in Colorado.
Uh huh.
And if it wasn't for this run, I probably would have been still working my 8 to 9 or 5 9 job,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't have been who I am today.
So you kind of left the res, went to the city, and just kind of like the Indians are back home. There's nobody out here in the city, kind of, right? Is that kind of the mentality then, or
Yes,
yeah?
it's kind of like you're blind in a
Uh-huh.
way. Like you come out here, and for example, I had a car, and once I lost it, and like I didn't even know there was trains that ran through the towns,
Uh huh.
and which is kind of something I kind of like realized, like, wait a minute, I'm driving, but yeah, I didn't know there was actual trains that came through town, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the narrowhead mentality that I had at the time, and being consumed with having the best things and materialistic and not knowing who I was, you know.
Yeah.
So when I volunteered for this longest walk, at the time I didn't even know what I was putting myself into. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know Bali. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone.
I remember
you
meeting you in
know?
the back of the van, and we knew mutual people,
And I feel
and you were like, "Hey, I didn't even know we were gonna really run far today," and you didn't eat breakfast. And I remember we had like these snack bars, and we were both eating them because I was like, I didn't know I was running today either. I thought we were gonna walk a mile.
Yeah.
I went down there thinking my family was
I
gonna
mean-
walk a mile, and it ended up, I think we did like all the way to San Pasqual that day, right?
It's
That was
still the same thing to this day.
Yeah.
Like, that's the greatness about these runs.
yeah,
Is that the same mentality we had that day? You know, like we didn't know it was gonna happen. We didn't know it was gonna run this far.
Yeah.
You know, but you always gotta remember, there's always gonna be an extra mile. No matter, like, you can like say we're gonna run 20 miles, but you gotta remember always in your head that there's always gonna be an extra 2, 3, 4 miles. So never tell your mind that the day's over with, because you have to think ahead. And
let's not overtake. Got those feet in the air, and you're slaving, man. It's like, all right, now let's go to bed.
numbers.
Blink
of
and wake up. Oh my
I
god,
mean, I think
again.
the most we had was like 24 miles.
Yeah.
We thought we were done for the day, but we had like 24 miles. No, we're like, oh, not even worse, like 7 miles to go. This is the worst.
Well, I mean, I remember that one day, my family, we weren't able to do all the way to DC, although we did go out and
Yeah.
we're there in DC. But we made the pledge. My wife did, and I was like, all right, I support you
2 weeks,
to
right?
go to 2 weeks to go to Arizona,
Yeah.
to get out there to Quezon land. We wanted to go through our own territory. So we
Yeah.
took the kids out of school, to the whole thing. But I remember we went out to Saboba, and I remember we were in Hemet, and we jogged, walked, whatever. I'd kind of done what my quota of the day, which I told myself this is probably what I'm going to run. And you saying that reminded me of
Which
this.
is the mile.
And then I remember going like, how far are we from Saboba to the gym? And they were like, I think it's like 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna push it out. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I think it turned out to
It
be
was
like 8
nighttime
miles.
by that time,
It was like evening coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I remember going like coming up that hill where the old casino is to the right, and we're getting ready to do the turn. And I'm like, okay. And in my mind, I thought we were stopping there. And then I was so dead, I was just barely going, then everybody's cheering.
Yeah.
Everyone's cheering at people out there. And I'm like, all right, man. So I have my daughter, she's just going, and we're just cruising. She's cruising. I'm like, I'm hurting, man. Come down that hill, and I'm thinking it's at the casino. That's where I thought we were going to feast. And then they're like, no, it's at the hall up the road. I'm like, dude, I was so done. By the time we got into the gym area there, I could have just passed out, dude. I was white. And it turned out to be, like I said, I think it was like close to 8 miles or something. It was way more miles than I thought it was. And I was just worked that day.
That's
I was
funny
hurting.
that I actually remember that.
Yeah. I was screaming, no.
And I think you were like sore. And you're like, no, I can't do this no more. But that's the beauty of what this is really about.
Yeah.
And it's just remembering who we are, and the only way you can do that is putting your feet on the ground and realizing that this is how we were raised. This is how we were brought to this earth, is because of your surroundings. Every plant, every seed, every living thing around you hears you. I mean that, and I think that's one thing I really intrigued of, knowing that every time I take a step, no matter how many miles, I wouldn't have said this like 2016. I wouldn't have known this, but now I'm like, that's the way I look at it now. You know? I guess I'm a changed person in that perspective. I'm grateful for it. It's scary at times, and it's very how do you say it? Very it's different.
Yeah.
And I like it. And I'm at times I'm just like, man, this is who I am. This is the person that I was supposed to be, So, and I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling. I think when I think of that, like I think about being a little kid, And most, like, I was raised on the res here in the fields where my house is now. We used to run around and stuff, and it's like back in those days. Not that it's a long time ago. Back in those days, all the res kids just run around with no
How
shoes.
long ago?
Hey, but everybody's 21 years ago. But we used to all run around no shoes. That was like a common thing. No
21,
shoes.
31, so,
But we used to run around no shoes, and they're like the
Yeah.
roads weren't all paved back then. It was dirt, so
Yeah.
you really were connecting. You were in the dust, you know. And at the end of the day, you go shower or bathe or whatever, and go eat dinner. When the sun was going down, that was your day. You know, you go out and hang out with the res kids. There was community there, and it's kind of like I think around the whole entire United States or the whole Turtle Island. That's what our native kids have always done is like be out there in the dirt and the sticks, the grass, climbing trees, messing around, you know, being in whatever their nature is, connecting with the soil. And it's like, I think about that sometimes where it's like, man, I haven't actually touched foot to dirt in like 2-3 days because I put my shoe socks on in the morning.
Every
I
time
go
Corona
out, touch the
has their
cement.
gathering,
Yeah.
I do that.
You just
I
take
take
them off
my-
and Fiesta feet.
By end of Sunday night, Monday, my feet is black. You know what?
Matching the elbows and the
I don't
knees.
care.
Nah,
I
I'm just
love
kidding.
it. It kind of identifies who you are.
Mhm.
You know, it really brings back where you actually how you grew up. You know, because I didn't grow up with the fancy shoes and stuff like that. So hey, look at this.
Hey, yeah, no, I like that. They do the Rock Your Mocks in November usually. Like
Yeah.
they'll say Native American Heritage Month, let's rock your mocks,
Yeah.
and everyone busts their mocks out for a day or two or a week. But I noticed that you've made the step to wear your mocks a lot of times throughout the year, and then on your runs especially. I know I've
Yeah.
seen you do miles in that. And that's pretty cool,
I
man.
mean, a lot of miles that there's actually a hole in one of my soles.
Just ran through. There's a hole in your soul. Hey.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
See it?
There you go. Fred Flintstoning it now. Hey.
Hey, my little toes. No, it's I already knew what it was about. You know,
Yeah.
like I ran 18 miles on the pavement, so
Uh-huh.
I kind of my moccasins suffered that. So it's a good indication that hey, this is what we run on these
Yeah.
days. So my factor to that is run on dirt when you get a chance.
Yeah.
Because it's who you are.
I say like take off your shoes and go step in the dirt once in a while because I swear, like me, I was thinking about it. I wake up, put on my shoe, shower, get ready, put on my shoes, put on my socks, socks and then shoes, and then I go out the door. So my feet never really touch the soil until I get home and I take my shoes, socks off, and then I'm around in the house. And if I leave, I put on some, like I never really go out and walk in the dirt very often. Maybe a couple times a week, like, and if you really think about it, how often do you actually? Because if your shoes, they have that rubber. They have there's layers before you even touch the soil. How many times do you actually touch the earth itself without anything? Like there's cement, there's blacktop, there's all of these different things that are a barrier between the earth itself, the dirt, and us as humans. And it's like, go touch a tree, go touch the grass. I mean, there is energy in all of that. Scientists know that. Scientists say that. We've always known that.
Yeah.
But it's like you do have to make those connections.
Yeah.
And I think like hiking is, for me, that's such a therapeutic thing because feeling stressed out in the world, you're overworked, you're tired, blah, blah, blah. You go out and do a hike, and it's just like everything leaves, you get disconnected, and you just connect with everything.
The road makes you feel that way.
It does, all the
Mentally,
craziness.
yeah.
But you get, like here where I live, I walk about a hill over, and there's nothing back there, and then I can go walk around the old village where my grandparents used to live down that way, and you're disconnected, but you can smell the plants.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see anything. It's just a very beautiful thing, and it's like I don't care if you're hiking in a local mountain or a state preserve or something. Like you feel the connection. It's a good feeling, and it clears your mind. And things like anxiety or depression or stress, those things will leave you. You can kind of battle that a little bit by getting out there. Plus the endorphins kicking in your body, your blood's pumping, you feel better.
Which is a really good point. I mean, that's exactly why. Because I at one time in my life, like, what am I doing? At the same time, like when I'm running, I can just feel it just like shooting through my body, and therefore, I run as much as I possibly can, especially with this diet that I'm doing right now. It reminds you where you really at in your life. Are you here? Are you there? Are you here? That because it does with all these altered sugars and oils and salt. Those are actually not really genuinely made for your body. So when you think about it and when you're going through it, you're like, oh man, do I really need that? You're like, oh no, I don't. So it's sort of like a mind trigger, like
Yeah.
why am I thinking this way? So I went through that in 2016, and at the time I was with all the runners,
Uh-huh.
and I was on the road, and my mom's like, "Why'd you do that? There's a bunch of people around you." I'm like, "I don't know," but I remember like I had like pasta and soup and fibre, which I love, all in front of my face, and but now I think it's a little easier on me because since 2016, I can see the difference. How I look at things. And I'm okay with that too.
That's good.
There's nothing wrong with it.
What is your training regime? Like performance wise, like do you run every day? Do you run like how often do you run? How hard do you push yourself? People listening in, they may think about walking or running, to get back in shape. I mean, what do you do? What's good for you,
I would
performance wise?
I would say really listen to your body
Okay.
because back in 2016 when actually 2015, which is almost 4 or 5 years ago, I started running again.
Uh-huh.
And
How long had you taken off at that time?
probably about 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you were coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I started running just straight out, and then my knees started buckling and they were hurting.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, Mom, why is my knees hurting the way it is?"
You're old and out of shape, son. Trust me, I know that. I know that.
But mothers will
Yeah.
give the best advice.
Sure.
She's like, "Son, just walk,
Yeah.
jog, and then go from there.
Yeah.
And then eventually you'll be back where you were before." And I took her advice. And
Yeah.
she was right. I had to kind of like regain my ground as far as stability, as far as my legs and stuff. So yeah, I remember it took me a long time to accept that I can barely do 2 miles. And it took me a long time to reach barely 100 miles a month, but I can do that in 1 week easily. So if
It's pretty gnarly, man. That's good. It's good.
I mean, so my thought on your question is, if you're able to really listen to your body,
Yeah.
and if you're able to put up with it, which is another thing, and tell yourself that you're able to do it, it's the possibilities are limited. It's you can do it basically.
Yeah.
Because if I can tell my head one time that I can barely do 100 miles in 1 month, and I can do it in 1 week, think about that. The concept of knowing that you have a little doubt versus like, I can do this.
Yeah, because you'll fool yourself, right? You'll fool yourself into thinking you can't do something.
It's very easy.
And it's like you can also fool yourself into thinking that you can do something. And that's better if it's something positive.
You got me on the right night. Today's my rest day.
Yeah. Oh, so you are today. Okay, you're resting?
Yeah, I've been really
How many rest days do you do a week?
Right
Typical.
now, typically, I would do about 2.
Okay.
If I'm gonna be lazy, I'll do like 3 rest days. But right now, I'm on my first rest day since, it's been about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been really pushing hard because I think this upcoming run, this prayer run, I've been running the entire country, and I think that I'm finally bringing this to my homeland.
Okay.
Only because for the cause, and I'm thinking about actually running the entire thing, and that's going to be my commitment.
Yeah.
But I want to have a team behind me that will be able to take care of this, and basically the logistics.
Yeah.
Because the last run we did from San Diego to Flagstaff, Arizona, I was all over the place. Yeah. But at the same time, I was running. So
that was a beautiful send off. I was really honored to be down there and to sing. We sang some bird songs, the indigenous songs here in San Diego, down at the ocean. We sang some songs about the waterway out there at the start of the day. It was early. You're getting started early for the sun. You even came up, you did the ceremony, and it was cool because you're cutting across through Kumeyaay territory, going out through the Seño and Kauai territories out that way, and you had Wayne Nelson, an intertribal bird. He came down and sang some songs also, him and his group, and so really encompassed in a very traditional way, like the acknowledgement of whose land you were on and which land you're going to travel through that day. And I thought that was real beautiful, and it was cool that everybody came in good vibes and had a good purpose. And I remember just thinking, like, when you were on the road all those days, I know you were in my mind and my prayers. I was thinking about, you know, when where Simon's at and his crew, where they're at, where they're running.
We made it.
And you guys made it. Yeah, it was really cool.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
I mean,
and now you're picking it up, though, right? Now it's done.
Yeah, only because, like, the prayers behind it, such as, like, what you just said right now, it's meaningful. You know? You can just sit there and just say whatever, but we felt it. Yeah. Even with the your bird songs, you know, it actually left me through Valley Center. And then up next one, Paula. Yeah. And then up through Morongo Valley. Yeah. Mountain. Took me all the way up. I know that because, like, I can hear the bird songs in my head, and they carried me all the way across the desert, and it's something that most people won't realize, but it's true. You know, the connection is there. Yeah. It's just redefining it by believing in it. So. And I don't know, like everybody else's songs in every other area, but our songs, those songs, like they really do have a cadence to a fast walk or a jog or a run. And like I said, I've done some running on and off. Right now I'm running about 2-3 miles a day. I've been in it the last few weeks. I've been going for it. There was times in my life where I was running 7 miles a day, and there's been times where I do nothing. You know what I mean? But when we were running that one time, you know, doing that walk and everything, that was some of the things I would do too. I'd sing them in my head or I'd have it in my ear, and it'd give me good cadence. And it's weird because like the footsteps match the beat, and then the song rhythm match my breathing. And it's weird because when you run, it's easy to get excited or to go, and then like you wear yourself out with being tired because it's psychological. Yeah. But the moment you get comfortable and you get that breath and you get like where you're really just kind of moving, you're not even thinking about what you're doing. And it's like you're flying. Not that I'm running fast, but it's like you feel like you're flying because you're just doing this movement. And it's like if you have a song or a cadence like that in your mind and the spirituality of it all, it pushes. You're gliding, man. So I know exactly what you mean. Kind of like I did that. Yeah, you're just rolling it. I don't know when last time you rode a horse, but
last week with my hair down and no shirt. No, it's been a while. Yeah, I had to go hunt the squirrels.
It has that similarity, and we have a lot of songs that actually relate to running, which come from the horse songs. Okay. But when I feel that when I'm running, I can feel it, that same rhythm that they have, because you know I grew up with horses and. You know, like gliding and just being out in the country, and oh man, and so this run, the girl that was murdered, Amanda Dakota, she had the ability to train wild horses, you know, and with that, to have that ability, it's really, really strong to have that capability to do something like that, especially being a female. Yeah. You know? So, and this particular run that we're going to be having next week, you know, it's really going to draw back that connection of who we are and what our abilities of being indigenous and, you know, coming together, really. Absolutely.
And you're going to be traveling home, so just all of that adding together, it's going to be powerful. It's going to be a good journey for you.
Thank you.
I
really appreciate it. You know, it means a lot. And like I mentioned earlier, thank you for the donation for the jacket.
Yeah, hey man, any little bit we can help each other, we got to do it. Yeah. I can't always donate to things, but I mean, you know, if we can, you know. It was Christmas time. You just spent all your money and worry about rent next month. Oh gosh. No, I was kidding.
Everybody like, wait a minute. No, you know, I met this really nice gentleman in Kobe. And
the swap meet, Kobe's?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I told him like, hey, you know what?
For those of you guys out there from San Diego, we got 2 swap meets, or 3 or 4, but there's Kobe's by the beach. It's a nice one. It's a big one. Yeah. And then you got Spring Valley, which that's the real one. Always people say because it's all brown people. I'm just kidding. But Kobe's, it's a nice swap meet. I go down and get the little tiny donuts. Sorry, interrupt
me. No, that's okay. It's fine. I mean, sometimes we're to go there. Yeah. I haven't been that way for a while. Yeah. The one in Spring Valley. But the one in Kobe, I met this guy, and I told him, like, hey, you know what? I'm doing this code drive. I'm giving my time and my money to this. And I was like, oh, really? So we had a conversation. He's like, all right, well, you know what? If you buy 20 of these jackets, I'll give you a discount.
Oh wow.
Normally they're $25 a piece.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, I'll see what I can do. So I got his number and stuff, and I called him a couple of days, and that's when I put up the
What was it, the Venmo, GoFundMe, something like that? It was something.
Yeah.
No, it was the advertising
like,
about helping the
hey, this is a
jackets.
great
Yeah.
idea. So
Yeah.
right now that's in the works.
Cool.
I did raise $150.
Cool.
So I got about another $90, which will, I'll
Sure.
put that into myself. So, hey, there's 20 plus jackets.
That's better than nothing, man. And that's if we all gave 20 jackets like that, we'd be helping people out.
Man,
And people can say what they want, but I don't.
jackets are really
If you never had a jacket, or if you don't have a jacket, and you're in a cold, you never been in that situation where you're freezing and you need a jacket. Maybe you can't appreciate it, but I know I've been cold, and I've been like, can I borrow a jacket?
Yeah.
That's a life changer, man. You can really make it someone's day.
So, with that said,
But it's easier to say, I'm gonna send thoughts and prayers. I'm gonna tell you that. It's a lot easier to say, oh, thoughts and prayers to the cold. And I always throw that out there. Think about our homeless people. Thoughts and prayers. It's raining. It's cold. But it's giving a jacket means a little bit more, man. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, thoughts and prayers are cool, but helping giving a jacket, I don't care if it's 2 jackets. It's better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I commend you on that. It's good.
Yeah. So I just want to bring that out.
Yeah.
We're talking like $12, and there's a few people that did contribute to it, which it's awesome. But it's in like, man, think about. We're talking about numbers of homeless, our own people that are whole at this hour that we speak.
It's rough too because a lot of those people are veterans. A lot of them are people that have served our nation or served us. They come back, traumatized from the war and their experience, or just being traumatized from growing up on the res. And it's like we got to a level we're doing well. We should throw the life raft back to them and say, hey, let's help you out a little bit. And a jacket's not a big expenditure for a lot of people. If they can give out $12 and help that dude out or that lady out, that's a big deal, man. Right now, everyone support the troops. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be that way because we should be.
Yeah.
But we should also think about those Vietnam era, the Iraq era, the Persian Gulf era, some of them are really struggling, man. And they're out there in these areas impoverished, and they don't, like you said, it's wintertime, they're freezing, man. They're living outside, homeless and stuff.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that we don't realize that, especially with the amount of money that we actually have income,
Yeah.
And $12 is $12, but it actually does go a long way.
Yeah.
It does save someone's life. So with that, I'm honestly grateful for the fact that the ones I gave is courageous, because it's gonna come back. So,
yeah, those things always do, man. They do, and just try to help those people around. But that's our traditional teachings, You travel all over. I've traveled all over the country. I know you have, and it's like you see that everywhere, right? People talk about that. Like a lot of these concepts are so common everywhere about taking care of those around you, and that. You always hear in media that, or in pop culture, they say it takes a village, but we truly lived that lifestyle for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it's a good life. It's a good mentality to have. Teach your kids that to be empathetical, to have care for other people, your common man. And it don't matter if they're dark, they're light, if they're big, skinny, sexual orientation or religion. If someone needs help and you can help them, where's the hurt in trying to help them a little bit, And
there shouldn't be.
There shouldn't, no.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%, just like last night, I had a late dinner, run for a juice.
Yeah.
So I saw this veteran on the street, and I was like, hey, this guy, he was hungry,
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, why not $5 is $5 for pizza, for him to have,
Hot and ready. Yeah. And that's a traditional thing, dude. You go to any potluck nowadays, it used to be like mom's spaghetti on the sleeve already, but now it's like, we're going to have a potluck. We want the community all to get together. Now it's chicken from Albertsons, and it's a hot and ready pizza.
Oh, my God.
It's like, come on, don't nobody cook no
more. Not
more.
only that, you got to have the aluminum foil ready.
Yeah. We're going to take that out the bag.
Yeah.
But sometimes you wonder if these people don't know how to cook anymore. Do they know how to wash their hands? I'll just eat the hot and ready. I don't want to get sick. No, I'm just kidding.
I know that was funny because
that's terrible, but it's true.
I was having last week with my nephews, and I got them to the point of like the straws and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And
for the turtles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I showed them an image, and we were having. I took him to the movies a couple times last week. So we're having lunch with his mom and dad, my brother, and mom's like giving them a straw and stuff, and they're like, no. And the mom's looking at it like, why? Why are you freaking out about a straw? And they're like, they just didn't want it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about today is we have to share information that someone doesn't know.
Yeah.
Which will save the headache eventually down the line, you know?
Sure.
And so when I was like, but mom's like freaking out, like, why don't you want a straw? And she's like, well, if you don't have a straw, you're going to be drinking a cup that's been touched by so many people. Yeah. I'm like, no, come on. If there's an A sign from the restaurant, I think that it should be a C if you think that way, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just...
So long ago, you don't know who peed up the river and you're drinking out of it.
Exactly. I was like, what is it?
You know what I do is I go to the restaurant. I say, bring all the liquid, put it in a bowl, and I drink it like that, like the old. No, I'm just kidding.
I remember that.
I'm just kidding.
I remember that in high school. We had an initiation for Costco.
Oh no, you guys did that? You guys did that? Oh,
it was horrible.
That don't sound good.
I wouldn't do that again because we all threw up.
My mom was telling me when she was young, they didn't have running water in a lot of the communities they go to, and they used to have a big, like a big bowl with water, and people would wash their hands before they went and ate. But then, like, you'd wash your hands, and then the next person would wash their hands. Like, everybody washed their hands with the same bowl of water, essentially. Then they'd throw it out and have the new bowl for the next crowd. But it was like, imagine being the last dude washing your hand with it. Like, that's rough, bro.
When you do it with good intention.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
Remember, the water has a spirit. And if you're able to do it with good intention, why not use the same water? Like,
I don't know, man. The germaphobe is like,
true.
I like the water, the germs.
I grew up that way.
But yeah.
I mean, with all my family, you know, from my dad to my mom to my 8 brothers and my sister, we had this little bowl. We all washed our hands and face.
Oh, you did that too then?
Yeah.
That's probably what, honestly though, I think there's scientific proof that would show like you build up the antibodies and you build up the immunity by sharing germs with each other, and it's not like you're, I don't know. It's just you kind of get the sense that you get like I said, germophobic from being in this modern era where you think everything's so sanitized, but real time like we're getting like disease, we're getting cancer off some of this sanitized lifestyle too.
Today's society, like they want to make you feel this type of way about peanut butter. Like, since when am I allergic to peanut butter? It's been around for years and centuries, So
yeah, none of our Indians have peanut butter allergies, and they're giving it out in the commods.
I don't believe it.
Because they've been giving us peanut butter. They've been giving us like the peanuts with the you put like 2 pounds of salt in there, and not one peanut has actual salt on it. You know what I mean? And someone told me, oh, we got to melt like butter and then put it on. I was like, what? I just knew when I was a kid, I'd put salt and be like, how come there's no salt on these peanuts? You eat 3 and you're just like, you had to like, where's the water? Do you're all dehydrated? But it's like I never heard of no peanut allergy back in those days. If so, maybe somebody's uncle or somebody got sick from that, and they should go and retribute and sue the government for giving them peanuts when they had a peanut allergy.
Yeah, from there on, it's all made up. It's all bogus stuff. So
I don't know, but then the peanut butter spray. I don't know, but there was always a lot of peanut butter in the house from those commod days. The government was giving us peanut. I guess we didn't have peanut allergies as natives. I don't know.
My mom would make the best casserole
from all this stuff.
Yeah, hands down. Just like when the governor gave us the blue flour, and the oil and the salt and the.
Is that when you guys started making the Native American tacos, fry bread? No, I'm just kidding.
That's why we're profound for that. Yes,
the Indian fry bread, the Native fry bread.
I see that, Claire.
The Native American taco. Now it's a Navajo taco. Like, not here, it's not. No. That's blasphemy over there.
I've been around that whole map.
Yeah.
The only place that's really close to Navajo taco is in the Yurok or Pit River.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So close. I even asked the ladies. I'm like,
there's probably someone's grandma was Navajo up there.
You know what they told me?
What was that?
They said that yeah, we grew up with the Dene women. I was like,
Oh,
oh, so you see the similarities? Like,
yeah,
if you're able to teach something that you're so good at, you can pass it on.
yeah.
You know, and I think that's part of what I'm doing. Is like, if I'm able to let people know that if we can get back to this whole running format, you know, where we once were, you know, there's nothing wrong with it, you know.
Yeah, I agree. You know, long ago they said our people in this region they would walk on a daily 10 miles just to scope out what was around them. That was like a daily amount of walking. And then the runners they
How
were
many steps
dropping
is that?
15, 20. Oh, I don't even know, man. That's so many,
You
right?
don't have a
No, I don't. I probably should. I was doing it on my phone for a while, but then I put my phone down and go walk and forget
It's
about it. So I
nine-
forgot. I need to get the little watch.
9,753 steps
What is?
for every 10 miles, I think. Something like
Oh, you know 'cause you've done it. Oh, that's interesting. That's cool. That's interesting. Ah, okay.
that. Somewhere
Okay.
around there, but
Something like
yeah.
that, huh? I know that they said that our people used to do that. You know, that was roughly like about what they did, about 10 miles a day, like everybody. That was just average.
Yeah.
And then like people who ran and whatever, or younger, or whatever, they'd do way more. And the
Yeah.
runners would go run, do 10 plus probably another 10, maybe 20 miles a day
Yeah.
on their feet. So yeah, it's so embedded in our culture and our DNA. It's like we should be able to pull right back into that at some point. But I'm seeing it. I'm seeing a lot of youngsters playing sports, playing soccer, playing football, playing, doing cheer, doing dance, all these different random things that are out there, sports, and they are running and they're getting back into it. And you're seeing health kind of making its way back.
Right.
And that's pretty cool. It's empowering because that's what's going to save our people. That and trying to eat better. Because right here on Viejas, and I might have the numbers off, but I know it's like the average age of death is something like in the neighborhood of like 42 to 43 years old.
It's,
Yet if you go down the street 10 miles away to the little town, it raises. It's up in the 70s. So it's like if you lived here versus here, which is only, 10 miles apart, your average life expectancy raises 30 years. That's crazy. But, a lot of that's because we did live through a lot of trauma and we did have a lot of, things,
that's one
diseases.
thing,
And
that's a great point
Yeah.
that you brought that up because right now in our homeland,
yeah,
like we have stores, but it's all junk food.
yeah.
So I went
The
home.
zingers and the ho-hos and the cupcake, all those
Oh,
like
God,
the
that sounds so
sweets.
good.
I know, I'm all thinking about it right now. I must be getting hungry. No, yeah, you're right. Because it's cheap food though, right? Because it's
But
easy for a
do you know
store
what
to
I
buy
seen
it.
Do you know what I seen on the receipt was junk food tax.
Oh,
So which is kind of cool. I mean, when you're talking about economic things,
yeah.
which is nice. But our president Nez, this past year for our Navajo Nation Fair,
Uh-huh.
he imposed that we do fruits rather candy,
Okay.
which is great. But I was like, for if you want to go that far and take the joy away from the kids and do fruits and stuff, why don't you go to all the stores and take all this junk food out?
Yeah.
Because it's basically what you're saying is diabetes and oh man, I mean
To everything, man. The
everything.
salt, like we're talking about government food earlier, but that's so salted.
It's
That's
really-
high blood pressure. Then you look at natives, we're leading the nation in diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke, like all of these we lead way. The proportion is just so crazy that we're just leading everything and like that's harmful to a human body. But like I said, like right now, I feel like we're in a time where we can change that. We have the opportunity. We have a little bit more resource. We definitely have the knowledge, and we've realized now that all this food that we were forced to live off of, that a lot of it's not traditional.
Yeah.
It's terrible for our body. The grains, the different types of wheat grains that we eat,
And-
they all come from a different part of the world where our bodies don't know how to break that down. That's
Yeah.
why alcohol is so bad, because we didn't have that barley and hops and all that, and so our bodies don't break that stuff down like people who come
Yeah.
from Eurasia do. So yeah, it's bad for them too, but it's really bad for us. We get diabetes, our pancreases go out like gangbusters, man, and then you can't live without those things. So our bodies are just breaking down from things that other people in different parts of the world they can withstand longer
I mean,
because we don't have that
we're
encoded in our genetics.
we're unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we're unique, they're gonna come after the unique ones.
Yeah.
So and that's part of what we're dealing with today is the I don't want to say colonizing us,
Yeah.
genocide and all
Colonize.
that. All that. Hey, there you go.
It's always the fist in the air. Hey, whatever. Why not the
Yeah,
middle finger? No, I'm just kidding. It's more appropriate.
Hey, you can edit that part.
We'll glue a little finger on your vest,
Right.
but hey, so what
So,
do you do then? You're a runner. What are you eating? What's good to eat? What's some good stuff that?
um,
What's your regimen look like? And then you said you're on a diet. So what's up with that?
my diet right now, I didn't notice, but no salt, no sugar, no oil.
Okay.
I mean, you can have sugar, but it has to be something more natural,
Uh-huh.
like such as fruits and
Okay.
stuff. So lately, I've been on this like crazy, really, really absurd diet. It was like lentils and mustard and cilantro and beets, you know, and
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. Do you feel
and
better with this diet though, or do you feel like it's
it actually teaches your mind something. It
okay?
really, really touches you in a way like, do I really need this sandwich? Do I really need this piece of bread? Now my stomach, do you hear
Nah.
it? No, it really does. It tells your mind that, do I need this?
Uh-huh.
Kind of like consumers, like, oh, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, then impulsive
But do you
buying.
really
Yeah.
need that? Probably not. And that's why we have so much trash these days, because you'll buy it and next year you'll have another one. It's kind of like at a Christmas tree, you know? You have a tree and then you're gonna get another one. Where does that tree go? There's no purpose behind it, you know?
Yeah.
So as far as the diet, um, it's only because I want to tell my body where I'm at. So far, I'm just really astonished as far as where it's going. Like, I don't feel the way it was in 2016, because it was very, very hard at times.
Yeah.
Like I said, like, it's only because I was with a bunch of runners and a bunch of people, and there was so much food around. But today, I feel more content than I really have in a long time, and
Good.
which is great. I think we all should be on that level as far as like, do I really need this fast food? Do I really need this frappuccino? Do I really need this? It's something that we have to realize, and it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it is really hard. It's something that you have to teach your body, which means go to your mind, your heart, your soul, your spirituality, your fitness and stuff. So on top of that, I'm running each morning, that it tells me that I'm in a good place.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
good to hear you're doing good. It's good to hear, it's good to hear you're getting pumped up and ready. You got your big event. It's going to be a very spiritual and powerful thing, I believe, And again, that's January, the date on that one again,
17th
17th
through the
to the
21st. And
21st.
we're gonna have runners from Utah,
Okay.
Northern California, U-Rock, Pitt River. We're gonna have people from Nevada. We're gonna have people from, of course, New Mexico. So I'm excited, and these are runners that I've ran with
Yeah.
in their territory. So I'm very grateful that they're gonna come and support.
Yeah, and if you want to support this cause, or if you want to run, or you want to, learn more about this, reach out to Simon. He's always open to talk to you and share, and I think and help others who are along on that path who might want to be on a journey similar, and
Yeah.
and you're living the lifestyle. There's a prayer run or there's something going on where you can help others. I always see you kind of go out and be there in the mix and share that awareness and do that.
Yeah.
And it's cool, man. I really enjoy seeing that. It's enjoy seeing you out there running. And so your journey essentially will have been from the coastline, from the oceans here of San Diego. You already done the leg from there
Flagstaff.
to Flagstaff, and now you're gonna pick it back up over there by Flagstaff and taking it home essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful.
And
Do you have a title for this
I've
run?
been yeah, it's Dene MMIP, which means
Okay.
Missing and Murdered Indigenous People.
Okay.
I say peoples only because we have to remember the men that are
Yeah.
also missing.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're talking about not just one, but we're talking about tons of young males being missing. I mean,
Yeah.
with my little brother, like, man, it was one of the hardest things I had to go through, knowing what I stand for like awareness and stuff. When you're significant little sibling family, it's something you cannot comprehend. It's and I understand that because it's a hard thing,
Yeah.
and we got to remember our men as well,
Yeah.
just as much as the women, So this is a Dene MIP, which Sunrise Dene Prayer Run. So hopefully we can wake up in the morning by sunrise and get the run on the road.
You'll do it, man. Time and time again, you've gotten it done, and I know you'll do it again. Hey, I want to thank you for stopping in, and later on down the road, we got to have you back, talk about how everything went. And again, it's 2020. Let's get healthy. Let's get fit. Simon Jones, live from the Rez.